Hello, everyone. My name is Alvaro,
Oh, and I'm Precious.
and this is Office Chats with Alvaro and Precious. Today, we'll be doing Don't Stop, Make It Pop, Stop Changing the Music. So, Precious, if I ask you, like, is TikTok ruining music? Like, what comes to your mind? What's your position?
My first impression is like, yeah, I think it is kind of taking away from the creativity and individuality in the music industry.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are now seeing having TikTok success as having actual music talent.
Yeah.
And I think that like really like affects people because then people feel like, oh, I must really be good at, music. I must have a good voice. And I think that really just affects their self-perception and, the self-concept they carry about themselves because they blew up.
Yeah. Like, even though you don't have any actual creativity or individuality, your song sounds like everybody else's, but because you're also on the Billboard 100, you now think that you're creative. You have that it factor. Because, like, how it used to be, that's how it was. Like, think about Bohemian Rhapsody, right? As a song, that should not have blown up. It doesn't have a consistent style of song. The chorus is everywhere. It's a crazy song. But it blew up because it was so unique and in at the time, right? You don't really have that anymore. You have... The only songs that blow up are the ones that trend on TikTok, not the ones that people think are interesting or cool or special.
And I don't think there is much of that interesting, cool music because people are now making music catered to TikTok, which is a problem because we're not having as much good music as there used to be. And I think like an important point, and I don't know how you feel about this, that my professor for this class actually brought up, was that like Lizzo making like elevator music.
Yeah. What is it?
About Damn Time?
Yes, like, that song is so obvious. Like, it's not a bad song. Like, Lizzo's not a horrible artist, but it's so obviously a song that's made to be on TikTok.
Right.
It's like, come on now, you can do better than this. It's very obvious. And she, like, the crazy part is, it worked. She had her song on TikTok, and it boosted her album. Which I think is the worst part, is that this formula is seeming to work. Which means as we go on, like, as TikTok continues to be more popular, it's not slowing down anytime soon, we're only going to see this creativity being sacrificed.
Yep. So, yeah, which is a good point. We are sacrificing good music for whatever is the next catchy thing.
Whatever's most in. You know that one song that's like, it's giving main character energy. It reminds me of that. Where it's like, obviously just like buzzwords and weird stuff for the sake of being popular. Like, that song has no creativity.
Right. And I think, like, besides it just being catered to music, I think also, and I know daytradings.com talked about this where since TikTok videos are so short, the cost for producing a video is much lower. If any, there's really no cost, I think, because in the past, I remember like YouTube music videos, like always being so excited for the music video to come out, and artists would go out the way to make a good music video. But I think now it's that's not as much of of the mission.
Yeah, because you referenced the past. I remember Melanie Martinez, right? Her album K-12. She made an entire movie just for the album and the music. I remember when the BBHMM, the song by Rihanna, when that came out, everybody was so like wowed by the music video.
Right.
Like, everybody was so like, oh, like it was a spectacle. It was cool. Everybody was talking about it. It was interesting. It was creative. It was new. And we don't get that anymore with music videos. I can't remember the last time someone was like, have you seen that music video for that song?
Right.
Because music videos aren't important anymore. Now it's about marketing on TikTok.
Right. And I think that's the main thing you see with the new artists are blowing up. Because the artists from the past, they're still trying to, use music as a way of expressing art. And I think that's what we're losing as well. And why TikTok is ruining music, because we're losing the art aspect of music. Because, I mean, you'll see artists like Beyonce. She's still making the, music album films that are just so amazing. So much production went into it. But then you have artists, like, I'm trying to think, like, of a good example of a person, like I don't know, like, Olivia Rodrigo. She blew up. But her music videos, I would never say, oh my gosh, that was such a good music video. I remember Driver's License, sis is just getting in the car and driving.
Yeah, like it feels like you would chop it up and make it TikToks and make like edits on TikTok to go popular on TikTok. Like it doesn't feel it feels like people are just putting in as much effort to be viral on TikTok and no more than that.
And then in turn, that affects listeners.
Yeah.
Because listeners have a shortened attention span, and I will say it has affected me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you know it because.
Oh my god! When we're driving in the car, it's a running joke. He will literally connect his Spotify onto the car, onto the speaker, and then play the first 5 seconds of a song and then skip it. I have never seen him listen to a song from beginning to end. He'll skip a song it was almost over anyways. After the song had 5 minutes left.
No, and I don't know. For me, I feel like I don't need to listen to the whole song anymore. And honestly, it's also that I want to get to the next song, and I feel like that's coming from TikTok, because TikTok, you'll hear 15 seconds and then you see the next video, you swipe up, and it's a whole different thing, which I think, why now I am that way in the car with switching music so quickly. Mm-hmm. And I think that affects so many people, and it also affects how we communicate as a society, because people, and how we receive information, because people are no longer absorbing large volumes of information.
Right. We're unwilling to listen to stuff that's beyond 30-second TikTok. I find myself skipping TikToks when they're too long.
Right.
When the max of a video is 3 minutes. That's kind of insane. Yeah. And it relates even more back to music, because again, now people can only listen to the 10-15 seconds of the most catchiest part of the song, mm-hmm. and the rest of it is foreign to me. I don't know, it doesn't sound good to me.
And you brought up a good point that now TikTok has the 3 minutes, but that's not how it started. And I feel like I'm the same way. When I see a TikTok that's 3 minutes, I'm not gonna watch the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, for that I would have gone to YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I think the effect is clear. It's
very
evident that a lot of people have been infected. Attention spans have been shortened, but I don't think it stops at music though.
It doesn't.
I think it makes it harder to watch shows, movies, things like that, because your attention span is shortened.
Now, if you cannot get information to people in 15 seconds, it just falls out their head. It's useless.
And do you think it and I don't know if this would sound accurate, but do you think it affects how people perceive different illnesses like ADHD, which is a shortened attention span? Do you think people will now start associating do I have ADHD? I can't.
I think it's already happened. It's the craziest part. You see again a lot on TikTok, because we're all on there. How people start pathologizing regular normal behaviors that we all share and turn it into something. Have you seen those jokes where it's if you flinch when you're hit, now you have repressed trauma from being
right.
That type of joke. It's very prevalent that there's these that things that are a direct result of this information age that we're living in, a direct result of being on social media all the time, are now being pathologized. In 10 years, we'll probably be in the DSM-5 that now if you were on the internet for too long, you might have X, Y, and Z illness, and that's kind of crazy.
Right. And I think another aspect of the problem is awards and recognition.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think the wrong people are being recognized, and the people that should be recognized aren't being as recognized. I remember when Olivia first blew up, and she had gone hugely viral on TikTok. I forgot the award show. I think it was the Grammys, or it was
she won a Grammy
or MTV, where she won. I believe it was Artist of the Year.
It was definitely a Grammy, because I know she won a Grammy for Artist of the Year.
Right, where she won Artist of the Year, and I'm you're new, And so just because you blew up, that shouldn't mean you're winning Artist of the Year. I think it takes development, and people have gotten to that point. I mean, talk about Beyonce again. She's gotten to the point to earn Artist of the Year and those different recognitions, and I feel a lot of people now feel you don't need to earn it.
Yeah, I think this is a very niche example. I don't know if you've been on this part of TikTok even, but that really ridiculous girl going period, period.
Yes.
That's the big one. There's rumors that she has a record deal. She has a record deal off of her videos really her mocking black people and black culture and making this terrible, horrible song, right? And it's you have black artists who are making actual rap, amazing underground, groundbreaking R&B, who don't get recognized. Right. And you have this girl who got on TikTok, made a TikTok, and made a joke with black people, and now she's purportedly getting a record deal. That's ridiculous.
And I think you bring up 2 good points. Firstly, her name was Bad Baby, right?
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Bad Baby. The one from
Bad Barbie. Bad Baby's the other one.
Is it Barbie? Oh my god,
Bad Barbie.
I've been calling her Bad Baby this entire time.
Bad Baby was the red hair one, Dr. Phil.
Oh, there's 2 of them?
Yeah, so Bad Barbie, the first thing about her is you'll see the period video. She has like eyelash extensions, her hair like wavy, tied up, things like that. But then you can literally scroll through her account and see a completely different person. You'll see just a white girl.
Yeah.
And so when you brought that up, I was like, yeah, that is so true. Where she's really just, I guess, mocking Black culture,
but cosplaying it, quite literally.
Cosplaying it, and to her benefit.
Yeah, she got
to her benefit.
Yeah.
And the problem is that record labels are feeding into this.
Right. Like,
and that is the problem.
Like, they reward the most heinous behavior. They were like, I remember seeing, like, it was on the comments of one of those, like, really obviously TikTok planted songs. People were talking about, well, apparently record labels will only think about signing you if you have a popular song. Right. That on TikTok. That's like reminds me of Ice Spice, you know, the That I Was Feeling You. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She, again, like, her song got popular on TikTok, so she got a record label. That's like it was not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she got a record label, started making really good music, and then eventually she got popular on TikTok and even that type of thing. It's that literally because she got popular on TikTok, because people were liking and sharing, and part of them were laughing at her, honestly, she was able to obtain, like, that musical achievement of being signed.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and bringing back, you know, what I mentioned before is that people's self-concept of themselves is that they're doing well.
Yeah.
That they're actually talented because they're going viral. Which in turn can actually affect other people's self-esteem for the good artists, for the good people who can actually sing, who can actually write good songs and aren't being recognized. Their self-esteem can be brought down to the floor because they can't find, you know, that one thing that will make them blow up while it made someone who was completely not talented blow up.
Like, it also kind of affects, like, how you see other artists. That makes sense. Because, like, like we as a society, I feel like, or at least people who are on TikTok, measure a musician's success in how viral they're on TikTok. How often I've heard their song blasting through my phone when I'm scrolling through TikTok. And, like, if you don't see an artist viral on TikTok, you don't think of them as successful. You don't think of them as popular or prolific or good in a sense. And that's kind of ridiculous.
And I think it's also affecting our, I guess, the amount of music we're hearing, and we mentioned the quality, but I think in terms of, like, commercials, radio, you know, all this time for us to listen to music is being taken up by not so good music solely because it got popular. So obviously the radio is going to put it for their listens.
Yeah.
But that song may, you know, not be good.
Yeah.
You know. And so I think we bring up those are two good points, that the fact that record labels are feeding into this, like that, besides us as TikTok consumers, we are feeding into it, we are liking, we're sharing it, posting it, all that. But at the other side, the people actually giving contracts and making people famous are feeding into it as well.
Yeah, it's like a really bad feedback loop. Because, like, kind of like Alvaro was getting into, the way the algorithm works is that the more interaction is what gets the most clicks. Like, the algorithm doesn't, of course, the algorithm can't pay attention to talent. That's not how it works. Its only focus is to force you as a consumer into a feedback loop of sharing, liking, and being, like, integrated with all this content, right? So, like, when you share this video around, it just kind of blows back on you. Now you're seeing even more of it, and it kind of, it percolates, it accumulates, right? And then that gets seen by record labels as a good thing. They're seeing it as, oh, you all must love the song, so surely we should sign the artist. Or they're seeing, like, or radio stations, like you said, are seeing it as, wow, this song is so popular, so it must be one to listen to. That must be so important. Like, it's kind of, because you hear the same, even if whether or not they're bad or good, you hear the same songs over and over and over again because they're popular on TikTok. Like Bad Habits by Steve Lacy. I personally love that song, but tell me you haven't heard it 5 gazillion times. Right. Like, so many times.
And I think it honestly can make us get annoyed by music.
Right. Like, now you're...
Right.
Like, you have genuinely good songs, but now I kind of, like...
Like, I don't want to hear you anymore because all these TikToks are blowing up in my face. It's on other social media platforms because people can download TikTok videos,
and
post it on Instagram stories.
On their Snapchat stories. Anywhere. I was really in Starbucks yesterday. That one song that's like, yours, mine. I was like, that's a good song.
Yeah.
But I've heard it so many times. And, like, literally in a public setting, I was like, wow, I hate this song now. because I had heard it so much because of TikTok. Like that's kind of that like it truly like TikTok really disrupts the music lifestyle. Like certain songs could go like on forever and ever in history and be played over and over again, and like you wouldn't get tired of it. Like you're okay with that because because one, it's allowed to play from beginning to end, right? You're not hearing the same one part over and over and over. And like I feel like TikTok has completely disrupted the music life cycle. Things die way too fast.
And I kind of want to bring up something you mentioned before that actually I didn't really take the time to realize was the TikTok algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been something I've taken the time to, think of how that works and stuff like that. So can you explain more of that? I think people could definitely benefit from hearing that.
Yeah, okay. So, like, of course, like, I guess the best way to start is, like, its main goal is to keep you on the app, right? But its main goal is to keep you on the app because the longer you're on the app, the more TikTok can make money. The more they stay relevant, the more shares they can sell and buy, you know what I mean? So, the point of it is to, when you interact with content, right, it kind of creates a profile of you, of what you like to see and what it should send you next, right? So the more you interact with a certain type of content, the more that content gets not only reflected to you, but to the people that follow you, the people that like the same stuff as you, and so on. For example, if me and you are both on TikTok and we both follow, let's say, a certain artist, when I start reposting, sharing, liking another artist's stuff, it'll end up on your For You page. So now all the content that I am liking and percolating and sharing is being shown to you. Therefore, like every user's actions kind of blow up on other users, if that makes any sense. So the more time you spend on TikTok, the more times you spend recording the same videos to a stupid song,
right.
The more times you laugh at this certain creator's song, the more it spreads. It doesn't stop spreading. It doesn't stop going further. It never stops. Like the algorithm kind of forces like things to spread farther than they should, if that makes sense.
Right, and I think we really addressed different sides to the problem. I think it's a very multifaceted problem. Yeah. I mean, there's different aspects, the short attention spans, the lack of artistry, the push for people who have no talent, and then how cost of production is going down. So, I guess, what solutions do you think could really help bring music back to what it used to be? And if there's a way to go back, honestly.
I mean, honestly, now that you say it, it's kind of, I can't imagine a genuine way to go back that doesn't involve the removal of TikTok entirely, or at least the removal of music from TikTok. But of course, that won't happen. Like, that's not really viable. So I think in the meantime, you could probably get away with having record labels not operate the way they do. Right, have a record label not pay attention to like your TikTok shares should not factor in, like at least as much as it should, compared to if you're a good artist, if you're marketable. And I think like we also need to make sure not only record labels but people that are on TikTok kind of have to understand the weight of how you use the app compared to music. When you laugh at that period of girl, you are actively giving her a platform to make more music.
Right.
Like, you kind of have, if you see something bad, like, yeah, you want to laugh at it, but laugh at it and walk away. Don't repost it, don't reshare, because you're only fueling in the nonsense, literally.
Right. And I think that's the problem with TikTok, is that people can listen to a song, and then they have the option to react it, recreate it as many times as they want. And then when you have so many people bringing that up, you're giving these people platforms.
Huge platforms
that will support them. And I think something you mentioned was profit, and I don't think we've touched on money enough, honestly, because I think money plays a huge role in this, because I think firstly I think it's important to establish that TikTok has an effect on the music industry, and obviously we believe that it has a negative effect, but I think a positive effect we could talk about is how artists are making money. Because I don't know if you remember like Dubstep, Musically, all those apps.
Oh my god.
Musically, yeah. So TikTok honestly blew up to a whole new level that those other apps never did, even though those apps were directed towards music.
Yeah.
So what do you think like the reason could be? Like,
I think it's kind of, this is a very broad issue, but I'm gonna try and narrow it down. It's, sorry to point the finger, but capitalism, because like you noticed how we only have like what 5 major social media platforms now.
Yeah.
All of them end up dying off quick, and they're falling down, and like whatever dies off gets picked up by someone else. For example, Instagram, biggest example. Instagram now contains the functions of Snapchat, and of TikTok also. It's not just what it was before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like with the accumulation of different like features, we're now only used to having 1 or 2 apps on our phone, or 1 social media apps for specific purposes, right?
Right.
Which meant that when TikTok came out, that was the only app that was doing what it was doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, when TikTok came out, nobody else was doing what it was doing, right? And it was also because it came off like the fall of Musical.ly. It was that nostalgia, that want to like be there, that to use that type of feature again. So of course, when you have this one huge app that's doing nothing else nobody is, like it's gonna skyrocket, it's gonna get popular. And as long as TikTok holds a monopoly on its function, it will not become obsolete.
Right. And bringing in a money aspect for it, I think it's absolutely crazy how fast TikTok has grown, where by the end of 2019, it was the #1 app worldwide that was being downloaded. Yeah. And that came in with money. Because, I mean, if you look at, you go to GoBankingRates.com, which tells you like the network of different apps, mm-hmm. You'll see that today, TikTok is worth $50 billion. And Instagram, an app that's been around for years is at $102 billion. So TikTok, that's been around for like 3-4 years, has already reached almost half of what Instagram is. And honestly, I feel like it could surpass it.
Oh, 100%.
It honestly could surpass it as we continue, as more people start to feed into it. And so I think money is such a big part because people are benefiting from this, you know, in terms of a capitalistic view.
Yeah.
But I think artists also are benefiting because the problem with Musical.ly and stuff like that was a lot of music was getting copyrighted.
Oh, left and right, like all the time.
And so videos would be cut off. And I remember TikTok had that same problem early on. And I think that's the reason why it didn't hit off immediately when it first came out. Because I remember seeing videos that would end up with, you know, at the bottom it said no sound.
Yeah.
Because songs would be copyrighted. And so I think now the way TikTok is, you know, doing better than the other apps is artists are getting their share of it.
Yeah.
So artists are getting money from this huge boom, this big app, but then also TikTok is getting paid and people are getting recognition. Well, the artist is getting recognition. Yeah. So I guess there is that benefit that it allows people to get paid and get their due. But I think it really just pushes people that do not need to be pushed.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, again, like to bring back capitalism, sorry guys, mm-hmm. third time. But it's like, capitalism awards, like, it's just about money, right? It's literally just about doing what you can to make the absolute most amount of money. It kind of, and like we said, takes from creativity. So now, like, we established that TikTok makes people so much money. It makes the record label so much money. It makes TikTok themselves so much money, the artists so much money. So now you have a huge incentive to do literally nothing. You have the biggest incentive, money, to come on this app, sing a couple buzzwords, and make your sound go viral. Like, it's way too easy to get way too far. And it takes away from creativity. Like, it sucks it all out.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Billboard and their music report for just 2021, approximately 430 songs surpassed 1 billion views on TikTok. Meaning that those songs got pushed to the big companies, to the big public eye, to like things like Billboard. And it's honestly just really, I think, ruining music. Yeah. And so honestly, I feel that first, people should understand that TikTok is affecting music. You need to understand that music industry is not what it was before, mm-hmm. and that people who don't deserve to have fame, to, you know, have their music blown up, they're getting blown up.
Yeah.
And music is not what it was before. And the second thing is record labels. Mm-hmm. Is that they need to address what they're doing. You know, address and stand up to it and say that you are pushing people solely because they're
You're
going
viral
viral
TikTok,
on this app, and change their attitude, really.
Yeah.
Change your attitude and start pushing artists like it was in the past. In the past, I believe it was so hard to
get where you need
get
to be,
recognized, to get signed. I remember, the saying where, like, unless you had someone slide your disc to the producer or someone up in the record label, you weren't going to become famous. Now it's completely different.
Yeah.
You can make a TikTok about the stupidest thing, have a song attached to it, and then get signed.
Literally, yeah.
And so I think with that, that's why TikTok's ruining music.
Yep.
Any last words?
I guess I hope, like, because we of course mentioned record labels, but I hope, like, people using TikTok, I get it, it's a fun app, it takes a lot of your time. Like, I use it, I understand. My screen time on TikTok is way too high. But, like, recognize that, like, what you do on that app has ramifications for, like, the music industry at large. So, like, when you see music that you like, push what you like and stop, like, putting so much attention on what you don't like. All you're doing is giving it more support. Like, all you're doing is giving more support, right? So, like, make sure you support your underground artists. Make sure you support those artists who are at the bottom, who aren't getting the recognition they need. The more shares that they get, the more likely that they can actually be recognized for their talent versus somebody who did nothing to earn it. So, yeah.
And I guess we should, and I know I'm going to try to make this effort, is to improve our attention spans.
Yeah.
So, so I hope people and I myself will be making the effort to improve my attention span, which has been affected by TikTok.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I hope you were able to take something away from this podcast.
Signing off.
Adios.